Hi, welcome back to my page. I hope you're all safe and well and that you've had a productive week. Now, this week's blog topic is not as juicy as last week's, sorry, but it is useful. And if you are a team leader, you're bound to hold meetings at some point, and that means that you'll be responsible for chairing those meetings. So, this blog will give you 4 awesome tips that will help you chair your meetings productively so that you can get the most out of them. And they all begin with a P so that they're easier for you to remember. So P number 1 is to be punctual. Be on time. Lead by example. When you're on time, your team members are likely to show up on time. When you delay to get to meetings, guess what? Everybody else will begin to follow suit. So one practical way to do this is be there 10 to 15 minutes before the meeting starts. It gives you a chance to prepare mentally, clear your mind so that you're ready to be present. And it also gives you time to just settle down, put your bag down or your briefcase or whatever, set up your laptop or your notepad, put things in place so that when the meeting starts, you're ready to go. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, it's not always that easy. Stuff happens. Maybe your supervisor calls and says, look, I urgently need to see you. And the meeting's going to start in like 5 minutes. Well, all you do is delegate. Delegate to a team member to start the meeting for you. But make sure that as you're leaving, have courtesy to let people know where you're going. Just mention and say, look, I've been called out. I'll be back shortly. Please continue without me. That way, people are in the flow, they're ready to start, and there'll be no debate and discussion about, what happened, I wonder where he or she is going, You get to have the meeting start on time, basically. P number 2 is to prepare. Prepare. Read your minutes the day before. Go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Take note of any corrections, observations, or questions that you would like to pose during the meeting. And it's also a good idea to touch base with your team the day before. Look out for key issues that you need an update on. There's nothing worse than going into a meeting and being surprised by one of your team members that something happened that you don't know about. At least if you touch base, you'll have a heads up and you'll spend less time during the meeting finding a solution. P number 3. Be present. Minimize distractions during the meeting. And a good way to do this is before the meeting, check in with your loved ones. If you have small kids at home, check in with them. Let them know that I'm going into a meeting. I won't be able to take your calls. If there's an emergency, call me. And that way you won't be distracted by so many calls. The other thing is put your phone on silent. I mean, you can still see who's calling, but don't leave it ringing or even on vibrate, because that does cause everybody to stop and look to see whose phone is ringing or making noise. Then the other part of being present is to help you listen attentively, actively, consciously. So what this means is you're listening with your mind, but you're also listening with your heart. Hope that makes sense. What I mean is you're listening to what people are saying, you're listening to how they're saying it, and you're also listening for what is not being said. Sometimes people will keep quiet when there's a problem, when there's a solution, because for whatever reason they don't feel comfortable saying it. So watch for body language, watch for too much silence. Also watch to see if certain people are always quiet, and look out for the ones who dominate the conversation. The beauty with being present is that by listening actively, you get to determine both the structure and the direction of the meeting. So if, for example, you notice too much silence, break the silence with some humor, lighten the atmosphere. If you notice that the same people or the same person never says anything in a meeting, ask them gently if they have an opinion on something or what are their thoughts. But don't be bullish about it, that they feel, that you're calling them out or you're singling them out. Do it gently and almost like, oh, by the way, so and so, what's your thought on this? What's your take on this particular challenge? And listen to what they say. The fourth P is be purposeful. Keep the meeting moving forward. And in order to do this, you've got to stick to the agenda. Now, I believe, and I got this from some training I did a while ago on strategy and performance and how to keep meetings structured and timely. If you can, ditch any other business, remove it from the agenda completely. And the reason I say this is because oftentimes it's under any other business that the meeting drags. People bring in things that may not be relevant. And in the process, the other people who are looking forward to concluding the meeting disconnect completely. And then they start thinking about what they should be doing or what they're supposed to be doing next. So to get around this, encourage people to prepare for the meeting as well. They should also be reading the minutes. They should also be thinking of what they'd want to be discussed so that they submit those agenda items to the already existing agenda before the agenda is drawn up. And then as you start the meeting, you of course go through the agenda and agree on it. And that way you minimize the opportunity to digress. So you keep the meeting moving forward. And the other thing is try to guide the debate or discussions. Avoid storytelling, excuses, finger pointing. Focus on solutions. Yes, we have a challenge. We can explain the challenge, but then what are we going to do about it? Let's focus on the solutions. So those are my 4 Ps. Be punctual, prepare, be present, and be purposeful as you chair your meetings. And I can assure you, if you try these out, be consistent with them, you will enjoy chairing meetings and you will get the most out of them. So as usual, if you need any extra help or you have any questions on this, reach out. I'm here to help. Take care and enjoy the week to come. Stay blessed and stay safe.